One of the key principles that we've laid out is we want to focus on where the value is.
I also had this experience that at the moment it seems like RAG plus the OpenAI, for example, they do pretty well.
There's 20,000 employees plus Experian has globally. And how can we get all 20,000 plus sort of people responsibly using generative AI? We've carried out these immersion sessions, both for technical users and non-technical users, where it's a couple of hours where we talk through and in an open-ended form give people a set of problems and then have experts help them address those problems. We have among the most valuable data sets on the planet, and a big part of our vision is to be able to provide data, analytics and software powered by AI in a seamless experience through a platform to our clients.
Welcome, Shri, to BetterTech podcast. Maybe we can start with your journey, with your background, and how you reached where you are today.
Yeah, happy to. Well, thank you for having me on this podcast, Shahzad. I'm an engineer by education, and just as I was getting my starting in my PhD in actually using large amounts of flight traffic control data at Stanford, I got lured into the world of management consulting and strategy consulting and spent a significant portion of my career over there. Started by working very heavily in consumer retail and really bringing Silicon Valley style technology, analytics, AI solutions before AI was called all what it is now, basically data science solutions in that space. And it was fascinating run to be able to work with some of the top retailers in the world, helping them unlock the power of their data through AI and technology. And then post crisis, I had the opportunity to lead and build a business within Oliver Wyman called OW Labs and OW Digital, which focused again on bringing Silicon Valley style AI, tech, and analytics to large financial institutions. And learned a lot about how certainly regulated industries and spent a fair bit of my time sort of working there, how to unlock and unleash the power of AI in regulated industries. And particularly what rung true to me was the opportunity for us to drive financial inclusion. A very significant portion of lending worldwide still happens using fairly blunt instruments. And so through my time spent in financial services, I became quite passionate about financial inclusion, using the power of AI for financial inclusion. And then Experian called the chief operating officer, reached out and said, we have an opportunity to really use our data with AI and technology to help drive financial inclusion. That seemed like a great fit with certainly my interests. For me, the opportunity to build products, services, solutions on one of the planet's most valuable data sets in service of driving financial inclusion, helping businesses and consumers make better decisions in this space was quite attractive. And what I do at Experian is I lead our software platforms and AI business. I'm responsible for a number of our leading products and platforms like Ascend and PowerCurve, which help financial institutions across the board harness the power of AI and technology and really making better decisions in that business. So I'm very excited to be here and talk about some of what AI technology can do in this space.
That's really an interesting journey from engineering, financial service, AI, and you mentioned really like that. We are really sitting on a very rich amount of data set, which means that you could do a lot with AI. So maybe you could enlist for our audience what are in general topics in AI that you are really feeling like can be about with personally.
Sure, I think Experian, having one of the planet's most valuable data sets, has been leveraging AI for quite some time now, over a couple of decades in fact. At the core of it, if you look at underwriting models in lending, they've historically been fairly basic models, either just decisioning rules or logistic regressions. And bringing the power of AI, machine learning, really helps create a win-win across the board. It helps financial institutions, lenders, get more approvals and reduce their charge-offs. And for consumers, it really helps identify and activate consumers who would otherwise be invisible with more traditional methods of risk-based lending. So the power of AI and machine learning, probably the biggest application we've been using for the past couple of decades, has been in driving financial inclusion and in helping create sort of better outcomes for financial service institutions and consumers. In addition to machine learning, we've also been leveraging automation and driving a number of use cases around that, and particularly in the last 12 to 24 months after the ChatGPT Enterprise Meteor hit with generative AI, we've been at the forefront of leveraging generative AI in driving impact, not only for us, but also across the board in financial institutions. Obviously, one of the top cases here is productivity, and we've been leveraging generative AI to enhance our internal operations, engineering, customer operations. But we've also used generative AI to enhance our product and propositions. And one of the things we recently launched in announced is our Ascend technology platform, more broadly at our Vision conference, where we're using the power of generative AI to provide users of that platform with co-pilots and assistants to help us understand the power of our data and to assist in using our data for tasks like analytics, modeling, profiling, and insights. So there are a number of innovations we're working through in this space and using the power of generative AI, both internally for productivity as well as enhancing some of our products and services.
About the generative AI, let's start from here. It's really at the moment really on our full throttle. But what is your general strategy compared to, let's say, the closed source third-party services versus using OpenAI and hosting? So
I think let me just talk more broadly about our generative AI strategy, how we're thinking about it, and then I can talk about some of our sort of models and how we're working through that. So with generative AI, first we believe that it has a very strong potential to help us amplify the impact of our data in service of both businesses and consumers. So certainly we're moving forward in leveraging generative AI and very actively looking at the various applications it can have for us internally and externally. A few principles as we do it. First, for us, data security, privacy, regulation is paramount. And so it's important for us to work through innovating with generative AI in a very responsible way. The second is we fundamentally believe in unlocking grassroots innovation. And for me personally, this came together when I think it was a month or two after ChatGPT launched. My 11-year-old son came to my wife and me, and like most 11-year-olds, he's addicted to digital, and he has his Nintendo, which his mother doesn't allow him to play during the week. But he sat us down and he'd written a 3-page essay titled "The Case for 10 Minutes of Screen Time During the Week," where he had thoughtfully argued about the impacts of dopamine addiction and how, on balance, like 10 minutes of screen time actually could work. It was a very well thought out essay, which would probably put some of my college essays to shame, and used generative AI, of course, for that. And so when I saw that, the second principle we really crystallized for us is we need to unlock grassroots innovation. We need to put this in the hands of all of our employees, not just a few smart engineers or like 6 or 7 people at the center. So grassroots innovation is a key principle. And the third important principle for us, which I think relates to the question you're asking, is it's really important for us to think about production at scale. Last year, as we all know, was the year of the POC and generative AI, and like almost every company had a ton of interesting POCs going around, and not many of these have seen the light of day production. So for us, The third principle was really important. We wanted to move into production and scale and drive impact and value and scale. Now, given that, here are some of the choices we've made architecturally. So first, in terms of the models that we see and we're using, the short answer is all of the above. As part of the platform we stood up, and we believe in that it's important for us to have a platform to help drive these use cases at scale and also manage governance and data security. So in our platform, we have all of the above. We have commercially available APIs and models like the OpenAI models, Anthropic. We have a set of models which are more open source, which we've hosted, and we have models which we've fine-tuned and we've used for specific use cases. Our observation thus far has been that a lot of the initial use cases that we're seeing in the value, you can actually achieve a lot of it with RAG and commercially available models. Now, security and hallucinations and the governance you put against are important, but I think what we're finding is the initial use cases are addressed by that. But my strong belief is over time, it's going to be less about one Lord of the Rings model which will solve it all. I think we're looking at a set of compound systems and really driving an architecture of an ensemble of experts, if you will. So a set of small models which are fine-tuned for purpose, which we bring together. Shahzad, I'm not sure how it's on your end, but your video on my end is coming through in a very grainy way. I think so first, our platform is designed with a number of options. We have APIs of the most popular commercially available models from OpenAI, Anthropic, etc., Claude, GPT-4, etc. The second thing, we have the top open source models as well. And then the third thing which we have is an increasingly sort of built up suite of some of our fine-tuned models for specific use cases. What we're finding in early days, though, that a lot of our use cases are actually best started off with RAG and commercially available models. But my view is over time, what we're going to see is a compound system approach, if you will. So rather than one large model solving all of your use cases or being the answer to a use case, a set of compound systems or experts where you have a few smaller models with a routing sort of mechanism or a routing architecture of sorts where it's routed to the right experts to answer questions or routed to the right agents as we think about it. So increasingly, in how we're architecting our platform and our vision, we're prepared for. Well,
that's very interesting. Actually, all points I think to go a little bit more depth. I also have this experience that at the moment it seems like RAG plus the OpenAI, for example, they do pretty well. And over the time, maybe with the RAG is actually bringing a lot of value. So about having multiple models, there are two aspects, right? One aspect of having multiple models could be like that, okay, if you are hallucinating from one model, at least you can in architecturally add different type of input in a kind of ensemble of models so that the hallucination is removed. So sometimes if you have many different underlying models, so that could be actually one advantage of using those models, right? So this is something that I'm seriously these days thinking that, okay, if we can build trust no matter how much we have, sometimes we have this hallucination problems from one model, but multiple models could at least, there be this, a majority voting or query by committee and so on. Now, for small and medium organization, the case of, commercial third-party LLMs together with the local RAG makes sense from costing point of view as well. Right. How about this decision about when you are working, especially in your case, really at a large scale? Do you think it could also make commercially more sense to host that models in-house and fine-tune?
So usually, I think it's still early days, as with a number of folks, but as we play forward the scenarios, we certainly see the value in having that capability and we're investing in it. I think exactly how much of our focus will be on certain fine-tuned models versus the commercial APIs versus others. We do still eyes on that as we for use cases, but certainly thus far we see the value in having the option.
And about other, for example, modalities other than language? I mean, for forecasting, for example, or for any of image or video processing, properly using generative AI or AI or support in this direction as well?
Absolutely, we're starting to explore some of those use cases, certainly. One of the key principles that we've laid out is we want to focus on where the value is. And so what we see is there's a big value pool on internal productivity. And for our product teams, our sales and marketing teams, when they're creating collateral or they're working through messaging, yes, we're starting to, in the right way, with the right protections and regulations, using some of those tools. And certainly image and image generation and working through some of those use cases is on the cards. I think for us, particularly in a regulated industry, the approach we're taking on some of those use cases is to start first with augmentation before we then go into it. So we're using it as a set of augmentation to help our existing users be productive, and so we always have a human in the loop. And then when we're comfortable with how the generative AI in certain workflows is performing, then it gives us an opportunity to go more to automating some of those workflows. So we've certainly been looking at some of those things across our life cycle.
Very interesting. In your strategy, you also mentioned one where I think the very first principle was very interesting, that he formed, in the second one is about unlocking grassroots innovation through making people use AI, because this is also, I think, very important, and it's also a kind of change, especially in regulated industry, especially, there are people who are doing experts, subject experts, they are working, and then all of a sudden there is an AI which sometimes do good job, sometimes do not good job, sometimes it's not 100%. So I also sometimes see that personally, that it is like that when people will have this kind of mindset, that, all that we work together and, make it work, because they brought us to a point where it is, giving us, offering us something. So in your experience and your strategy implementation, how do you manage to get that change within the organization?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I think after reflecting on what my son came to me with, I think the thought that came to my mind was there's 20,000 employees plus Experian has globally. And how can we get all 20,000 plus of people responsibly using generative AI to figure out what it means for them? And the first thing we had to do was we had to understand how we can provide access in a responsible way. We set up an AI risk council and laid out a set of guardrails and principles on how we want to unlock grassroots innovation. And through that process, we quickly identified a set of options and tools on how we would do this. What we wanted to be very clear was just opening up our folks to some of the public available tools would not work for us, because we felt that that would be a compromise on our data security. Even though we have many controls and measures in that place, we felt putting some of our proprietary information in there would certainly not fit our needs. So we came up with the right guidelines and frameworks, and we take this very, very seriously. So we identified a set of options on how we can unlock grassroots innovation. The first was maybe building some of our homegrown tools. The second was partnering, and the third was a hybrid approach. And ultimately, we settled on a bit of a hybrid approach, because we do think there are companies like OpenAI rapidly innovating in this space. They've got a product called ChatGPT Enterprise, which we're exploring, and there's other companies with similar products as well. Equally, we have several thousand of engineers at Experian who are innovating and creating options, and so we're looking at both, and we're adopting a hybrid approach as we take that forward. And it gives us the opportunity to put this in the hands of a number of our people. The third thing we did was we drove change management. And one of the things we realized was it's insufficient to just have this in the hands of folks. You really need some education, and you need some mechanisms to unlock that grassroots innovation. And we're doing that in a couple of ways. The first thing we've done is we've carried out these immersion sessions, both for technical users and non-technical users, where it's a couple of hours where we talk through and in an open-ended form give people a set of problems and then have experts help them address those problems. And those have been eye-opening to many folks, saying, oh, wow, like I didn't realize you could do this and now I could do X, Y, Z. And so these immersion sessions have been helpful. The other thing that we do periodically, which we've brought in, is we have quarterly hackathons. And what we've done is we've created a format where we have some of our technical folks and non-technical folks working together on these hackathons to unlock some of the potential in the grassroots innovation here. So those mechanisms have been pretty interesting, and actually some of the key products we're going to market with have been born out of this innovation process, have been born out of some of our hackathons and some of our grassroots innovation efforts in this market.
Oh, very interesting. So yeah, you mentioned Experian and having a large number of engineers and then working in-house, but also with the clients. So maybe you could give us a bit of small, short introduction generally about how Experian is helping its clients in general, and maybe any specific case where AI or advanced analytics played a pivotal role in helping the customer for certain operations.
Sure, absolutely. I think one of the products that, I'll give you two examples. One of the products that we have come out with, and we talked about at the recent Vision conference, is the Ascend Data and Analytics Copilot. Just to give a background here, one of the products which we have for financial institutions is the Ascend Sandbox. It's a very impactful and popular product with many of the top financial institutions having it, and it provides an analytical environment and access to a anonymized version of like 10 plus years of corporate data. And so a tremendous source of insights and decision making for financial institutions. The one challenge with it though is it requires deep expertise in understanding our data. And so if you're using the Ascend Analytical Sandbox at a financial institution, you need to know and understand credit data, and you need to know and understand how to work through it. And historically, we solved the problem through providing meeting support and some of our experts. And what the Ascend Copilot does is it uses generative AI to provide a virtual expert almost 24/7 available for like every customer round the clock at any time. And you can ask sort of key questions to this expert and it will answer detailed questions. One of the stories which came my way is our chief data scientist was at one of our largest clients and he got asked a very detailed technical question about one of our data elements. And our chief data scientist is renowned in North America. There's probably very, very little that falls in the category which he doesn't directly know. And so he went to the Copilot and tested it to see if it could answer that question, and it gave him a 2-paragraph answer to that sort of question, which at that point we knew we had something special, right? If it could take one of our deepest experts and help like harness and pull together some knowledge. So that's an area where we think we can bring 20, 30 years plus of our expertise embedded in an agent and an assistant available to our clients 24/7. And I think those kinds of capabilities are important in how we're looking to make an impact.
That's very interesting. I mean, I think a unique something Professor said. It's kind of something. It was in deep learning time when we said that deep learning is kind of black magic. Sometimes you don't know what's happening, but the result is really like, kind of magic. And I'm also in the field for 20 years. But it's really kind of an exciting time that how logical, how thoughtful outcome you see, despite few bad cases of whatever hallucination, but there is like whatever huge logical, outcome that we see from those models. Now, this, for the last few years, things have changed a lot, right? So we have seen really, tremendous progress in AI, and that means the landscape is not going to stop. Right? It might actually change. There will be new things done, new applications to emerge from the recent advancement. So how Experian is preparing to leverage this trend in technology and AI in Germany?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, firstly, for us, we have among the most valuable data sets on the planet, and a big part of our vision is to be able to provide data, analytics, and software powered by AI in a seamless experience through a platform to our clients. And so it gives our clients the opportunity, and it gives them the opportunity to pick and choose. If we take a step back with our client base, which is financial institutions, but also sort of more other industries, but a lot of them are financial institutions. There's a digital revolution underway with financial institutions, and it's probably undergoing the biggest change in its history in a good way, with data, technology, AI, analytics, providing opportunities to make better decisions on how financial institutions run their business, improve the customer experience, improve overall sort of productivity, and just fundamentally reshape what you can do in that sort of space. And for us as Experian, we see ourselves as the forefront of providing the financial services, data, analytics, software and AI, the platform, if you will, to help accelerate that digital revolution. AI, we believe, will be a pretty significant component of this. And to start with, as I said, historically, we've been using AI in a number of areas as relates to machine learning, but with generative AI and the revolution we're seeing now, we expect a lot of this to start with productivity, and we're leaning forward. But we expect it, like the internet, to start to influence and enhance our products as well. If you looked at the early days of the internet, it was largely an information exchange tool, and then it moved into creating companies which were these internet companies. And now, of course, you don't see any internet companies. Every company is an internet company. And I think we'll see a similar trend with AI and generative AI. We're seeing this fall of AI companies, and soon it'll start to become a part of the fabric of most companies. And it will start with productivity, which is logical and probably where the most direct connections to value are. But over time, I do think it will help evolve and reshape how fundamentally the business models work with these companies. And we certainly see that as a tremendous opportunity for us and moving forward. Historically, Experian has been known for being a credit bureau, but increasingly over the past 5-10 years, we've made a number of investments in technology, analytics, and AI, and are really looking to provide a whole gamut of solutions across data, analytics, and technology, and bring some of those platforms to our clients. And the Ascend technology platform, which we recently announced, is an example of how we are realizing this vision with our clients.
Well, that's very interesting. I think the analogy that you mentioned, that it's more like internet is now kind of embedded as part of the fabric. So because a lot of time, this discussion also goes whether AI is a wave, but I think as from your answer, it's also clear that we're not talking about a wave. It's a certain transformation that will eventually become part of the fabric, and will be almost everyone going to use it one way or other. A very interesting discussion. It's a lovely to have with your discussion. May I go with one last question, more from your own personal view, or an exciting moment? Your long career, you worked with the lab, with people, with the engineering, with finance. What was you mentioned a very nice example already with your son. I also have kids, and they always bring something new. So personally, what time or what moment or one example where you are like most excited about technology? that, okay, here we are and the world is direction that you envision or you wish it is?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. For me, probably the most exciting moment was realizing that there's so much more that generative AI can do in taking not just our data, but the context around it and creating greater impact with our businesses and consumers. And it relates to the example I gave you with our chief data scientist. So as we were looking to build what I shared earlier was the Ascend Copilot, which is essentially a 24/7 virtual assistant or tool which helps inform our clients about our data. The first thing we did was we said, let's do something simple. Let's train our assistant on the data dictionaries we have and give it a set of data to help us understand our data. And then we quickly realized that was not enough. And we really, for an assistant to provide that, we needed to train it like we apprentice some of our folks. So we started providing it with a lot of the information and context which isn't written down, which was in people's heads and ideas and things we had. So we started structuring it. And then something interesting happened. We received 300 plus questions from various of our clients every week on these products, and 300, 400 clients just for these products. And we started testing this agent against that, and we found that it could answer those questions almost better than some of our experts because we had trained it. And for me, that was an aha moment saying, wow, it's not just looking up information that we have documented. We have now the ability to take some of our intangible information, which is in the heads of some of our experts, and create something which will answer that. So I think I'm personally quite excited about taking some of the knowledge and experience we have across and bringing it in service to our consumers and clients.
That's really, really nice. That's great to know. That it's like that AI is, I recall from the book of Khalil Gibran in The Prophet, so I really love this story. He mentions some of it. That it's not like you're as weak as your weakest link, but you're also as strong as your strongest link. So this type of that also provide the organizations with this, ability to become the strongest and replicate and, support the weak part of organization. So, well, very nice. So, yeah, it's a really lovely discussion. And again, I thank you to be with us. We had a nice discussion and we learned a lot from your experience. Thank you very much to be with us.
I appreciate the time. Thank you for having me, Shahzad.